I would just say that if you are a domain expertise in whatever it is, audio, video, AEC, hair cutting, I don't know, whatever, t-shirt printing, whatever, and you can add AI on top of that, you are 1 in a million, maybe even fewer. So,
welcome to AI for Architects, the podcast exploring how artificial intelligence is transforming the AEC industry and what it means for the future of your practice and our profession. I'm Shlachter, founder and CEO of MGS Global Group, a company dedicated to driving growth for architects. Each episode, we dive deep into AI's impact on architecture. You'll hear from leading architects, experts, and innovators who are shaping the future of our field with AI. Artificial intelligence is here and accelerating faster than we expect. Together, we'll build AI literacy to help you thrive in this evolving landscape. Think of AI as a way to stay ahead of the curve. Whether you're an early adopter or a fast follower, architects need to get moving. So what does this mean for the future of our profession? Join us as we explore the exciting opportunities and critical challenges presented by AI. Ready to explore? Let's dive into the episode. Hi everyone, in today's episode, I'm joined by Stjepan Mikulic, founder and CEO of AI and ASC, and co-founder of NeoStack AI. He's become one of the leading voices in bringing AI into the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. I first met Stjepan at AI and Innovate conference literally for 20 seconds. And he was very busy and people were chasing him because he was on his way out. But I just wanted to thank you, Stjepan, for agreeing to be on the podcast. Stjepan shares his insights on AI implementation, and it immediately caught my attention. Since then, I've been following his work closely with more than 1,400 AI tools cataloged in his AEC AI hub and clients in 67 countries. He's truly become the go-to resource for architects trying to navigate the AI revolution. Stjepan's journey is remarkable. He started as a BIM lead at a world-renowned big Bjark Ingels group. And at just 28, are you just 28 right now?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, he has already built a global AI education platform, helped a 250-person design firm save $4.5 million through his 9-step AI framework, and trained over 600 professionals worldwide through his AI and AEC platform. What sets him apart is his philosophy, freely sharing knowledge while also delivering custom AI solutions for firms. That's made him one of the most trusted voices in the AI AEC today. He's been featured as a keynote speaker at major conferences and recognized by Architizer as one of the 5 leading experts in AI tech revolution. And he's built a following of more than 27,000 LinkedIn professionals who look to him for AI guidance. So, Stjepan, I'm so excited to have you here, and welcome.
Thank you so much. I think I need to change my LinkedIn description based on what you just said. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I realize I see a lot of people who do the AI stuff, right, and review AI tools. But what really caught me was your personal story and your journey, because I'm Filipino. I think you're Croatian, and we have very strong values around family and people, friends, and community. And what really struck me was that you've shared stories about taking your mom sailing, picking lavender, and how you create these moments as you build these global businesses. Can you talk a little bit about your background?
Sure, yeah. Thank you for recognizing that. I'm glad that it's not only work that you saw in what I write about or what I post about, but also all of these kind of personal stories. As you said, like I was born and raised in Croatia. I actually grew up very poor, so to speak. Like we had cows and chickens, and my cow was called Strawberry, and I had a goat called Simpa, and so on. So this is like going way back. And then what happened was that luckily Croatia got into European Union in 2013, and this allowed me to study abroad, right? So after high school, I went to Denmark, and there I studied there. I worked there. I was there for 10 years, started my whole career, started posting online because I realized that this is something that this industry needs different approach if we want to solve the issues that we have in the industry. And I figured that me keeping my knowledge or whatever I'm doing with 2 or 3 experts within the firm doesn't go very far, right? So, and then I'm just very grateful that people realize that there's value in what I have to share. And all of this AI stuff, of course, exploded in a way. But I can also tell you that today is just, I mean, I moved to the States 6 months ago now. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey. I can tell you that.
So that was my next question, Stjepan. A lot of people I'm not political or anything, but a lot of people don't want to move to the US. I'm in the US right now. I'm in Cleveland. So how does it feel for people who are like bashing the US right now? What is it like for you to be in the US and have all this opportunity that the US has given you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the main reason why I moved to the US and why I love being here is because I think this is the best country to do business in the world. The reason for that is because, especially as an entrepreneur, again, I do have many European clients, and you can find like very interested people everywhere in the world. But my main problem was that in Europe, typically decision-making process takes 6 months, 10 months, and you're like, I just started, and they're like, can you please send me 3 references of your past clients? And I'm like, but I'm a month in my business, where in the US, they actually just look at the problem. They're like, you can fix the problem. How much does it cost? Yeah, sure, let's go. You know where you stand. So this is why I love the US for business purposes. Yeah, definitely.
That's amazing. And thanks for sharing that, because we'll have a lot of people from international background and seeing that the US has a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurs as well. So let's move on to, before we go into like the AI stuff, I just want to talk about your leadership and impact on people. I'm an entrepreneur. I live in the US. I have a large team in the Philippines. And I like that what you wrote about working with the team, your 3 employees, Aiden, David, and Luca, and how you've really changed their lives. And you mentioned in your LinkedIn post, the main success metric is how many lives I've changed for the better. And you said, I believe that mindset is what brought me success to scale. And of course, all the people who bought all the courses and workshops. So I like what you said about you measure success by the lives you've changed rather than just the revenue or growth.
Thank you oh my God. I think that this is probably one of my favorite interviews, if nothing. Thank you so much for researching all of this and for realizing that. I don't know, I was always the weird kid when it comes to growing up. And I'm telling you this because like, I was always saying that like one of my main goals in life is have the biggest funeral ever. I just want so many people there. Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't expect that. Okay, let's talk about that. Okay.
No, I mean, what I want to say is that I just want to leave this world better than I found it. And I think that a funeral is a good measure of that. I was always very impressed by people who like have huge funerals because like that means that they actually mattered. They did something. And if you look at that long-term race, your month-to-month revenue or cash flow or making a quick deal or doesn't really matter that much. So this is, again, I will repeat it. My main success metric is how many lives have changed for the better. And I think that this is a path toward that huge funeral. I know it's a weird thing to say, but it is the truth. So.
My father always said generosity is the key to success, because if you live your life with a closed fist, you're never going to receive. If you just keep on giving, you receive. And I think one of your staff is probably Filipino, Aiden.
Yeah, she is. Aiden, my first employee ever.
You know how I know? Yes. Because your post about saying sir, that's so typical.
Oh, really?
Yes. And as a Filipino, when I moved to the US, my bosses here in the US, I call them sir. And they're like, no, don't call me sir.
Yeah.
So that's very normal. As if you have a Filipino VA, it's normal for us to say sir to your bosses and all that. That's why I knew that you had a Filipino staff.
No, yeah, I think that this is what a lot of people don't realize, especially, I don't know, like who's a typical, let's say, listener of your podcast, but most people I speak with, they can't believe that this is a possible business because I have 3 employees. We are 4 people employed within my firm, right? With me included, on 4 continents. One is in the Philippines, one is in Nigeria, one is in Serbia, and I'm here in LA. And the thing is, it works so well, and I know it's a win-win. So first of all, because of their locations, their salaries are lower than the US would be. So as a startup, as an entrepreneur, that's very important for me. But also for them, like Aiden or David, like I'm not going to, of course, disclose the exact amounts, but I can tell you that they earn 3 to 4 to 5 times as much as a typical salaries in the Philippines. And they live like kings or queens. and they go to so many extra miles for me, because it's a win-win. They're so happy. They always say that how blessed they are to have this job. I'm like, you got yourself the job. But I think that also for them is that they put themselves online. I think that's also one of the lessons that people can get, I guess.
Yeah, I also do that I do architecture production, and my team, I've been doing this for 18 years. My first employee is still with me. Even though we're a productions company, they've been with me 18 years because I paid them really well. So I've attended weddings and baptisms and things like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I'm kind of old, Stjepan. I'm like almost 50. So anyway,
You don't look at all 50. So
thank you.
yeah.
So thanks for what you do for the industry and also for your employees, because I know apart from doing what you do, you're also creating a lot of content, which is kind of giving to a lot of people. I just watched your episode with this university, or I think it was in Italy, where you were there for
Yeah,
two
with
and a half.
Polytechnical, yeah.
Yeah, you were there for 2 hours and giving all the things, right? We can buy it, but it's online. So people, if you don't have access to attend your courses, you can start online. And thanks for doing that for the industry. But let's talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and how
Sure.
you pivoted from focusing on AI education in the AEC. How did that happen?
Yes, sure. So I had this job, right, at Big, and I loved my job. I never thought I'm gonna be a business owner, like an entrepreneur. I never thought that. Of course, like in some way, I was like, maybe at some point I would like to have a business of my own. But I was really happy with my job. I was really enjoying it. And then there's a lot of things that happened in there. I got laid off from all of the people. My manager had no idea about it. Their manager had no idea about it. So they were fully unaware. So nobody asked them like, is Stjepan performing well or Stjepan is performing bad? So it was just a business decision to cut expenses or whatever. And I think there's a longer story that I don't want to share publicly because there might be somebody who gets offended at that. And I think it should, remain within the people who were there. But I think it was a blessing in disguise. I can tell you that, because at that point in time, I had 6 months of savings. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just try. Maybe I should just try to have my business. And what I started with was basically no business plan. I had a following back then that was very helpful because, as you said, like I was building this database of AI tools for the AEC industry. Right now it's 1,700 apps.
So you started building when you were still in Big?
Exactly.
Oh.
I did that in my free time.
Got it. Yeah.
I started building it. I was already at 9 or 10,000 followers on LinkedIn back then. And then they let me off. And I was like, okay, cool. So, okay, let's try to figure it out. So for the first 3 months, I can tell you that nothing happened. Nobody called me. Nobody reached out. I had zero earnings. I was thinking, okay, maybe I should work on my CV, get back in the job hunt. And then come May last year, it's actually so recent, I can't even believe. But May 2024, I launched my first course, Mastering AI and AC. And this course got sold in 7 days to 54 countries. And I earned like $50,000.
Whoa.
And I was like, what? Oh my God. Like my salary was $3,000 and like my expenses were 2.5 or something. I lived in Copenhagen. So I thought that's life. I thought, okay, that's it. I never even knew that there's a life beyond it. And then I was like, of course, you hire people, you expand, you move. There's a lot of expenses that go in a business. So it's not as a perfect story as that. But I think that this proved me was like, okay, there's some substance to this. And let me keep on doing it. And now I expanded beyond only AI education as like courses and workshops toward this NeoStack, the app we're building.
So let's talk about your first course. Was that an online course? Was it live? Is it something people can still purchase? Because AI is moving so fast. So is that still available, or you're keeping on updating that one course that sold for you said 400 countries or 400 people
54 countries.
50, yeah.
And it was like 150 students back then. Now today's numbers are 600, I think 30, more than 600 students. And in 67 countries. That's today.
So what's the platform like? If, for instance, if I wanted to, is it evergreen or it's changing?
It's evergreen, meaning that what I focus on when I educate, when I teach in these lessons, I focus on the fundamental truths of AI that will always be the same. So of course, AI models will change, AI apps will change, but the fundamental truths will stay the same. So this ensures longevity of the course. But of course, there's updates that you need to do. And I love doing that. I was doing that anyway. So I always update my courses. And I think one of the crucial things, there was actually a couple of crucial things that I did with those courses, which are still available. So if anybody's like just listening in and wants to check it out, AIinaEC.com. People can check out all my courses, workshops, whatever it is. And my courses still come with a lifetime access. So you pay once and that's it. Like you get lifetime access, lifetime updates. There's no hidden fees. There's no subscription fees, nothing of that sort. Still, I might change to a business model, a different business model in the future. But like right now, I'm just giving access for one-time pay. That's one thing I wanted to say. And the second thing is that, I mean, of course, the listeners are in the US, then it's the price they see. But I think that what I also did, because I just felt it's more fair that way, was this purchasing power parity. You know what it is?
No. Can you explain?
Yeah. So purchasing power parity is your dollar goes a longer way in the Philippines or in Kenya than it goes in the US, right? So I was like, why should somebody pay $500 or $600 for my course in the Philippines when it takes them a whole month to work for that money, whereas here you earn it in a couple of days, right? So what I did is purchasing power parity, meaning that you automatically get discounts based on your country's GDP. So if you access AIinaEC.com from Turkey, from Chile, from whatever, Argentina, from whatever country, which have a lower GDP than the US, Denmark, Norway, UK, or whoever, then you will get an automatic discount code. So
that's really amazing. And because you're right, people from India have different purchasing power from Singapore and from the Philippines. And you're really making it more inclusive for people with different economic backgrounds, really to help the industry. So this course, is it the first course you launch? Is it like 5 modules? How long is the course exactly, the first one?
Right now, it's probably more than 20 hours long because we keep adding to it. But I know, and people are like, that's too long. So the core module is 5 to 6 hours. Mm-hmm. That's the core module that's going to teach you everything you need to know. The extra hours are the demos, the product demos we do. So I invite a lot of people on AI demo days, I call them, which are typically weekly shows. Yeah. Where all of these AI apps, when you look at their website or marketing videos, it looks amazing, you know. And especially when they present it, typically in startup world is, do you have this feature? And they're like, no, but we're going to have it next week, you know. So they kind of overpromise. And so what we do is on that show is I invite startups to show their product because I'm unbiased. Like nobody's paying to be on that show. I'm not paid by any of these apps. So I can ask them the hard questions. I can ask them, hey, your competitors X, Y, and Z. Why you're better? Why should I go with you?
Yeah, I saw that in Clarity Inbox. I travel quite a bit, and so I downloaded some of your videos that I watch on the plane. And they were like, you're ahead of them. And you're like, yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that feature.
Yeah. So I think that's necessary because like I try to take I was a BIM lead. I know how hard it is to choose software and especially how expensive it is to make a mistake in choosing a software. Yeah. So this is the whole point I try to do with both the AI education part, but also with NeoStack. Thank you so much. Follow so much. You're engaged. I love that. Thank you so much. I can't even believe how proactive you are. You know, so this is amazing to have you as a host. So
thanks so much, Stjepan. Yeah. Oh, before we go on your demo, I just have 2 more things and then we'll do the demo.
Yeah, I'm not in a rush.
So in terms of the people, the demographic in your student demographic, are they students? Are they firm owners? Are they big companies, small companies? That's number 1. What's your client demographic or student demographic? And number 2, what clients do you want to work with more?
If you ask me for demographic, like age-wise or location-wise?
Not necessarily age, but the type of firms. And also, are they students versus what's the percentage of college students versus professionals? Are they firm owners or IT people or like their CTOs? And how big are the companies in general? Are they the 500-person firm or the 2-person firm? And what do you want to do in terms of what kind of clients do you want to pursue more?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So for the courses, right, for AI education?
Yeah. For AI education and also later for your consulting in general.
Okay. So I can tell you this. So 95% are professionals. Only 5% are students, meaning that some universities reach out and they're like, okay, we want to buy for, I don't know how many of our students, these many licenses. But 95% are professionals. So of those 95%, I would say it's 50-50 between B2C and B2B. A lot of people pay from out of pocket just because they're interested. They want to learn AI. They want to learn how to use it, how to implement it, what's the good stuff, what's the bad stuff, and so on. And then 50% is like company-wide. Somebody from the company said, okay, we need to implement AI, take the course. And then somebody takes the course. When it comes to the size of the firms, typically so I think around 70% of my students are from 100 to 1,000 people in the firm. But there are examples of even smaller firms. Many of them take the course or courses. And then there are like the bigger companies typically have their own education of a sort, or, like they maybe hire me as a consultant only to educate them on the spot. So they don't typically take so many courses. And these are like 1,000 plus firms, meaning maybe like 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 people. But I had all sorts and kinds on my workshops and courses before. It really depends because, again, the larger firms typically have the budgets where they're not going to say, okay, we're going to buy 50 licenses. They will say, I have 50 people that I need to educate. Do you mind coming here to my office for 2 days to educate them? So they will typically go in the workshop way, whereas most other people will take the course instead.
So how does it feel? I read your post about David versus Goliath, that Deloitte reached out to you and they saw your framework. So what did it teach you about your expertise that big companies are now wanting to hire you? Because now 70% of your students are 1,000 employees and above or whatever, right?
I think that what it taught me, that's a good question, actually. And for those maybe maybe people don't know, is that, so what happened is that I went to Brazil. I got invited to present at this BIM, like the largest BIM conference in South America. And I was on stage in front of 1,800 people. And I couldn't, I was like, the village I grew up in, which I mentioned a second ago, didn't even have this many people. So I was never supposed to be there. So,
yes,
my life is such a story. I don't know. I think that for probably my future kids, I hope they make a movie about it at some point. But anyway, so I went to Brazil. I'm presenting there. And what happened is that a week later, I get a call from Deloitte and they want to meet. Sure, let's meet. And then director of Deloitte in Brazil, where they have 18 offices, and I don't know, like 30,000 employees only in Brazil. They have, 400,000 plus in the world. He reached out and he's, listen, one of our clients was in the audience. He saw what you presented and he wants us to do the same thing. And I was like, okay, cool. So how can I help? And he's, I need you to educate our own consultants on what you do. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I'm just a small business starting this after being laid off. Like, I couldn't even believe it. But the thing is that what it shows you is that, I became an AI consultant, not by choice. I never aimed to be an AI consultant. It sort of happened when you become an expert in something that people want your advice on that. Whereas I'm guessing, but most people working for these big consulting firms are educated to be a consultant, But I think that if you want to be a really good consultant, you should go through the trenches, which I did earlier in my career. I was on a construction site for a year, 6 months, a year. I made a huge bridge in Turkey for my student days. And then I worked for an engineering firm, for architecture firm. So this is what it taught me. It taught me that domain expertise can never be exchanged, not even with AI. So for those maybe wondering, okay, what can I do with all of this that he's saying? I would just say that if you are a domain expertise in whatever it is, audio, video, AEC, hair cutting, I don't know, whatever, t-shirt printing, whatever, and you can add AI on top of that, you are 1 in a million, maybe even fewer. So that's what I would say. Because AI experts with domain knowledge, so you can correlate with people, you can understand which problems do architects have, do engineers have, do construction people have, and then use AI to solve it, you're good. I think you can have a business easily.
Plus, you also put in all the work. Like my favorite quote is from Adam Grant. You plant the seeds of greatness in your daily grind. And you've been planting seeds since even before you got laid off. So you've been trying to nurture your audience and you're really prepared for it, right? The opportunity came, but you were already ready. So can you talk about NeoStack and how does that, I'm actually interviewing Ignaz, I think next month also.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
So can you talk about what is NeoStack and what problems are you most excited to solve, and yet for NeoStack in particular?
So what I'm showing here first is AI and AC website, so you can check more about courses and so on. But then the reason I'm sharing this is because as I was building this out, all these courses, of course, I spoke with so many people, and most of my students and whoever hired me, there was like I could see a common problem is that people are just confused they're just being like, they're left confused with the amount of AI apps out there. There's like thousands and thousands. And of course, yes, I built that database that people can check out for free. And it helps a little bit because it's most of these apps are classified. You can learn more about it. But again, if you're like, okay, I'm an MEP engineer, what do I choose? And they're like, still 30 apps. And you're like, I don't have time to demo 30 apps, to implement 30 apps. So how do I go about it all? So that's one problem we wanted to help people with, like choosing an app. The second problem is managing those apps, meaning that if you think about your own life, you have Spotify and YouTube and I don't know, Netflix subscriptions, but you're like, and you don't even know how many subscriptions you have probably, but you're like, okay, it's $10 a month and 10 of those, so whatever. But think about it, if you have 3,000 people in a firm and everybody's using different software and you're paying like three, how do you say, annual licenses for all of these apps, and you're like, okay, how much could I save? How much does it cost me? Who's using what? Especially when it comes to AI, like how can I optimize all of that? So we decided to build NeoStack, and this is an application that's helping people choose, manage, and adopt technology within their firms. If that makes sense.
So AI and AEC, those are courses, right? And
yes.
AI and AC are the courses and the consulting, but NeoStack is really organizing and tracking all the apps, right?
Exactly.
So the one that you showed earlier with in Notion, with all this entire spreadsheet, is that AI? That's your hub.
That's my hub. That's my hub. That's just how I noticed the biggest problem that people have.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to do, if I knew that this is going to become such a big deal, this hub, I would probably do it a bit differently. I would add more, but again, I never planned that this is going to amount to anything. But it became the world's largest hub of AI tools for this industry.
So there are over 1,300 in AEC?
1,700 currently.
How many are gone? I mean...
bankrupt or...
No, like don't exist anymore. I reviewed 50 AI tools myself, but I kind of stopped. I got tired, so I'll just join your community. I don't need to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to do it.
So yeah.
Yes, many of them. Not many of them. Like actually, fewer than you would think. I would say are gone and out of business because AI has been such a huge deal over the last, as you know, few years that everybody's investing into it, and so on. But this is, of course, you need a way to track that all. You need a way to find out, because there are AI apps happening coming out every other week or every other day, basically. So that's why we decided to build NeoStack. As you mentioned, Niknaz, my co-founder, and both of us noticed this problem, and we decided to kind of join forces and build this. So I don't know if should I go ahead and show you what we planned?
Sure.
I'll be quick. Yeah. So first thing that, again, this is mainly built for people who are like design technology managers or like BIM leads or people who are managing technology and want to help adopt technology within their firm. And when people are going to be logging in, they will see their dashboard. And on the dashboard, you can see how many active apps you have. So think about your Spotify, Netflix, but like Revit, Solibri, Tekla, Autodesk Construction Cloud, all of these apps you can see here. You can see how much of that monthly expenditure you have. And how much of a budget are you actually spending? Do you have a budget for more testing, or should you save somewhere, and so on? You also have like reminders of expiring licenses, monthly budget alerts, anything new, like recent discoveries, because we have AI built on the background of everything. We call it Neo. So Neo can understand everything that you put into this app and help you find the best application that you might miss. You might have a blind spot on something that you don't even realize. And then you can also see like how much is every project costing you software-wise, how much is every team costing you, how much is every phase, and so on and so forth. Because we also realize that like a typical 250-person firm in the AC wastes $480,000 a year on unused licenses, unused software.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the first module that people will be able to see is this tool discovery. So again, this is taking the database I showed earlier from Notion to a whole new level.
Yeah.
So instead of because typical problem that you have today is like you find an app. Let's take Bimify as an example.
If you're running a growing architecture firm, you're probably not short on projects, you're short on people. Talent shortage is real. Finding and retaining skilled professionals takes time. Meanwhile, deadlines keep getting closer. And when you're balancing growth with quality, it gets harder to maintain your project standards as the work piles up. We are here to bridge the gap. We provide qualified architecture staff on demand so you can scale your delivery without compromising quality. That's what MGS Global Group does. Whether you're overwhelmed with construction documentation, need BIM support, or your internal systems just aren't built for this level of growth, our team plugs in seamlessly. Think of us as an extension of your in-house team without the long hiring process. And because we work across time zones, your projects keep moving even after your office closes for the day. If your timelines are starting to feel stretched and your team's at capacity, visit mgsglobalgroup.com. We can get started in 24 hours. We're here to help you scale smarter and deliver faster with quality, consistency, and peace of mind.
And you go on their LinkedIn, then you go on their website, then you're like interested, then you might check out a video or two, or maybe they don't even have it. Then you need to reach out to this firm if you're going to reach out, because you're not sure, is this firm actually well-funded? Is it just a guy in a basement doing it this afternoon? You have no idea. And then you need to schedule a demo. Then they're trying to sell you something. You don't know if this is true. Then until you figure out that meeting, this is like weeks and months of work for you to just be able to assess this application, let alone implement it in your firm. So what NeoStack is helping you to do is that, again, on tool discovery, you go to details and you can see, okay, this is best used for that. Those are the key features. It's in this project focus. Those are the pros and cons. It can, similar tools, it can connect with these other tools about the company. When was it founded? Who founded it? If they have funding or not. You can see reviews from people, if they like it or not. News, meaning that has the company changed their terms and conditions? Are they using your data or not? Pricing, and of course, a demo. This is something that's why I do all of these demos all the time, because this is, again, unbiased. Again, Bimify or any of these apps don't pay to be on these demos. They don't pay to be on our tool discovery. This is all public information. So we're giving like an equal chance to all of those vendors, and we are not going to have sponsored this in your face because we're paid. We're not going to have that because our business model is not like that. And I never believed. I just want to find the truth. What's the best AI tool for a specific use case?
So for someone like a small firm owner with 50 employees, they'll go to AI in AEC spreadsheet or like your Notion, and then they'll pick, let's say, the top 50 architecture tools. And then they can go to NeoStack and discover, so the first thing is maybe check your website out, your AI and AEC, and then go here to just do more of a deep dive in different tools. Is that the idea?
I think the idea is a bit different. I think the idea is that if people want to get educated on AI, they should go to aianac.com. They should look at the courses, at the workshops. They want to upskill their team. They want to save 12 hours a week, or they want to make an AI strategy, AI policy. This is everything we do in those courses. But NeoStack is more for people who want to manage their technology. So it's very closely related, but it's more of choosing and managing technology and not only AI related.
So can you share a case study of a firm that is using NeoStack?
So I can't share it yet because we are still in pre-alpha, so to speak. We are launching our beta on October 1st.
Okay.
And we are launching the product on February 1st, 2026.
Okay.
So what people can do right now is sign up for the waitlist on our neostack.ai page. We have over 170 firms, AEC firms that signed up. We have weekly calls with many of our like early adopters, so to speak. But I can't share a success story yet. Maybe next time we do this, we'll see. But I hope as soon as possible. We are working heavily in the background to develop not only the tool discovery, but like also the other modules as well, to have this out as soon as possible.
So maybe I'll have you and Niknaz next year when you finally launch.
Right? Yeah, sure. I mean, hopefully early next year. Again, the thing about development is that it's easy to develop like a prototype like this with AI especially, but in order to make it secure, that's the hard part. So we are taking like extra steps to make it secure, that we can apply for this SOC 2 certification, that none of the data gets leaked. Nobody can attack the app or use any of the data, because this is sensitive data after all. You're going to put numbers in, you're going to put user names and so on. So we want to make sure that our clients' data is very secure in this application.
So let's talk about AI and AEC in terms of your consulting, right? Like
Sure.
how, like when a firm comes to you, what are their biggest pain points? And what do you do when there's bias, when 60% are AI adapters, but 40 are not? Like, how do you manage, you know, the intern? I'm sure like not all the leadership is can really buy into AI. And what is that process like when you come in and do the consulting? I mean, and how long is your consulting for these firms? Because I'm sure people would be interested in you coming in and working with the
Ah,
companies.
okay, yeah, thank you for this. So typically, consulting works in a way where, so typically, what people like, my ideal client for, let's say, consulting sessions, or so to speak, is a person who's they maybe tried something but it didn't work out, or they don't even know where to start with AI. They're like, okay, I get it. I can use ChatGPT. We use Copilot. We bought all of these licenses for everybody, but we're not getting the savings. Where are all of these promised savings? So for people or for companies that want like a more strategic approach to it and a more like practical step-by-step approach, and this team is using that, this team is using this team is reporting on that, and to be able to make sure that they're not missing out on anything, those are my, let's say, ideal clients. So I have had clients that are MEP engineers. My biggest client is an interior designer, and they do different kinds of stuff, from like vacation homes, residential homes, to like data centers, to like fish farms. It really, like, the AC is so complex. It really depends. So what I can tell you is that what we typically go through is this 9-step process of AI implementation. I think you know it from what I
Yes.
post about, right? Yeah. So we typically first just meet, of course, to assess where they are, how much do they know about AI, what do they need, and where do they want to be. Like, is it mainly for saving money, which is typically not the case. I can tell you from my current clients. Typically, the case is I want to make the job easier. We have so many headaches. We're like lost in the paperwork. We're lost in deadlines. We're chasing after deadlines and never seeming to get there. So typically, it's those kind of clients that come and they are like, okay, can AI help me? And I can say that typically yes, but not in all cases. AI is very good at many stuff, at many things, but not at all. So this is what we look at. We like assess, okay, do we even have an AI policy? Okay, cool. If you have one, do you have an AI strategy? What's your strategy for implementation? Maybe what I can tell you is that most leaders are not using AI, but most staff specialists are. And then the thing about it is that it's cool to use AI, but like they could be leaking your confidential client information to some AI apps for free credits or whatever. So it's very chaotic. So if somebody wants a structured approach to it, and again, this case study that I have is I have a client, they're a 250-person firm, interior design. They were very confused. They were overwhelmed with AI out there. They didn't know what tool to choose. And even when they were meeting with applications, they were like being sold to, and people were telling them, next week we're going to have this feature. They just wanted somebody unbiased to walk them through this whole process. And what we realized is that many things they didn't even know about. Like, they didn't even know that there is another option for this. They were only looking at like LinkedIn and saw Midjourney. Okay, cool. But then I told them about, for example, Speckle, and they're like, what's that? And I told them, but this can save you weeks of work on every single project. So in total, I think we calculated around $4.5 million in savings over the next 2 to 3 years for a 250-person firm. So this is a huge saving. And they're very, I mean, again, they for a reason, they're my biggest clients. They were like, okay, we're going forward with this, and we're still in touch. So yeah.
Congratulations. So would you say that most of your clients come to you for tool, for tech, or for strategy? Because it's different. A lot of people see AI as just tools, but it should be
Mhm.
part of a bigger strategy. So do you also cover firm-wide strategy, or mostly efficiency in terms of production and using AI tools in the AEC industry per se, or is it strategy?
That's such a good question, Aya. I would say that it's mainly technology. So I can advise on strategy when it comes to technology. I typically have, sometimes I have like discovery calls, and people tell me, I don't like, we want something with AI. We don't know even what we want with it. I'm like, that's fair. But do you have a vision for your firm? Do you want to be a technological leader? Do you want to win more projects? Or are you overwhelmed and you just want to have people finish their work at 5 and not clock in so much overtime? So all of these are, people need to come with a specific problem, and then I can see how technology can help them and if it can help them. And if it can't, I'm just going to tell you it can't help you. I'm not going to charge anybody for, I think that this is what people appreciate. And again, as you said, honesty and transparency. So most people but if I'm a management consulting on like where your firm should go, I'm not there yet. I'm only, as you said, 28. I know technology, I know AI, but strategy so far, I can advise like solopreneurs, small businesses, but like bigger businesses, I wouldn't step into that zone yet. So
That's amazing that you've done so much at 28. Come on.
thank you.
You should do all of that before you have kids, because everything out of the way. Do you have a business coach? Yeah, I'm curious. You've
Yeah, thank you. I don't have a special business coach, but I take like bits and pieces from everybody.
Okay.
I think that probably my main business coach is maybe my dad.
Okay.
He told me that when I was like 5 years old. He told me that one of the most important things in life is to reach your full potential, whatever that is.
I love that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, whatever that means for you. So that's why one of the things I also don't believe in competition. I believe that everybody's put on this planet for a reason. That can, you're here to help other people with something. You have a special talent in something or a special set of skills, and there's place for everybody, because I do also believe that there's countless more problems than there are people to solve them on this planet. And this, I say this in the States and people are like, isn't everything a competition? Typically what people say here. But I'm like, I don't believe in that. I believe that everybody has their own mission in life. So anyway, he taught me a lot. He helped me a lot with starting up, because he has his own business. And I can just tell you that he's 50 something, but when he was 50, he realized he doesn't have to work anymore. So, because he did it all, he had a huge company, managed everything. And like, I don't know a happier person than like him or my parents.
So they struggled at the beginning. You said you started out really, and then they succeeded. Is that part? Yeah.
Yeah. And part of the reason why what happened with my dad and my parents is that he needed to go abroad, because he was like working for Bechtel. If you probably know Bechtel, it's a huge construction firm here in the US.
Yeah.
So they were building highways in Croatia. So he was like, and this is one thing that probably, that's why I even moved to the States after all, because he told me that Americans are so easy to do business with. And I think that's completely true, because he started as like some intern, something like doing highways in Croatia, right? And then after 3 months, they put him as like the manager of all the highways. And I was like, what? And he's, listen, they just realized that I can do it. Like, I have the knowledge, I have the capacity, and they didn't care about my credentials. They only care that I show up every day, and they gave me a chance. And that's why he was always speaking so highly of Americans and Americans doing business. So, and he was really good. He's a really smart guy. I think that he, made his business really, and he's still working for 4 to 5 hours a week. But only because he wants to, right? Otherwise, he's, again, going back to our roots of producing wine or like having, olive oils or whatever. So, yeah.
That sounds like a fabulous life. Obviously, it seemed like it seems like you really have good upbringing and good values, because I noticed that I watch a lot of business content. I see a lot of influencers make your next 100 million, 7 to 8 figure. They're talking about the figure, 7 to 8 figures to grow your business. They don't even talk about the service they provide. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just about the money. So that's why it's so refreshing to meet an entrepreneur who puts others first and provides.
Hey.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Let me share this story. I really want to tell you this. I think you're going to be really, really, really happy that I'm going to share this. So I have a younger brother. Okay. He's 4 years younger. He looks basically the same. We're physically the same. But our mindset is completely different, okay? So when I was 22, I realized I really want to go forward in my career. I started a full-time job. I studied my master at the same time. I was always like the guy who wants to produce, who wants to go forward and do more and so on, and help like many people. And today I live in LA. My monthly expenditure is like 9 to 10K per month, because rent is expensive, life is expensive, car, whatever. You want to go out sometimes for dinner, for whatever. So it's $9,000 to $10,000 per month. It's very expensive. My brother, when he was 22, he realized that Zagreb, the capital where he was living at the time, was too fast for him. It's a million people city. It's too fast for him. He decided to go back to the village where we come from. He got chickens again. He got like animals and a little farm going on. His monthly expenditure, he's living in our old house that we had like in the village. His monthly expenditure is $300 per month, because he has his own food, He has his own, everything's fresh produce from his garden. And he only basically spends for like gas and I don't know, something you need to buy, cleaning stuff or whatever in the store. So, and the question is, who has it better? Who has it better? Me, who spends $10,000 per month on living in LA, or him who has fresh food every day with like chickens, dogs around him, and I don't know what. So, in fresh air and spending $300 a month.
Exactly. It's a lifestyle, right? And it's
Exactly.
a choice.
So exactly. It's a choice. So anybody, I never believed in that. Of course, if you want to go after the bigger numbers, sure. But I don't have that mindset because I know that there's the other side, and no amount of money. If my brother started earning $10,000 per month, it wouldn't change a thing for him.
Yeah.
It wouldn't change a thing. He would still be going to open, I don't know, give food to his chickens at 5 a.m. in the morning because he loves that. He wants to do that. So yeah.
That's amazing.
And I don't right now. So maybe at some point we'll see. But this is the story I really wanted to share because there's only your truth. There's only your version of success, not somebody else's.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks for sharing that. That's really powerful because at the end of the day, it's really how much a lot of people live in debt and have lifestyles that they can't afford, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to come from a modest background, knowing how hard it is to earn a living, right? Like my parents too were struggling in the beginning, and then after years they were able to succeed. And it's good that you're able to see the fruits of your parents' labor, and now you can do the same thing for you, right? You're gonna be planting seeds, but it seems like your success got accelerated because of the perfect timing in AI and all the things you did even before leading to getting laid off, right? It was just amazing. So what is the biggest misconception about AI in the architecture that you're still hearing from firms right now?
I think the biggest misconception is a bit technical, that like your data is used for model training or that there's a lot of fear around it. I just don't understand why. So even when you have like, when you put your data on the cloud, meaning you put your data on Google Drive, on OneDrive, on whatever, Microsoft or Google or AWS, typically these huge data centers, they can't access your data. Even though it's physically there, they can't access it. It's encrypted. And it's the same thing with AI. A lot of people think, they're going to use my data. Yeah, some companies, but very few, because they're not stupid. They want their clients. And when you want your clients, you are going to make sure that your clients have the best, let's say, environment around it. So I think the biggest misconception is that your data is leaking, your data is going to get stored somewhere, or somebody's going to steal it. It's not going to happen. Most likely, 98%. Of course, you always have edge cases, but I think that's the biggest misconception, that your data is typically very safe and secure.
That's good to know because, everybody thinks your data is not safe, right? That's good. Anyway, I've heard you said that your vision is a world where every AEC professional knows how to use AI. So what does success look like if that vision comes true in 5 years for you in terms of your education and the students that you've empowered? What does that look like?
That looks like that everybody is working more toward their actual dream than on like mundane tasks that could be automated or AI-fied. What I mean by that is that I've been in the industry. I remember at Big. Okay, Big is a different term, but like every architecture firm has this. Like you're chasing deadlines. Deadline is next Wednesday, and I need to stay until 2 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever, to add tags, to add dimensions on a drawing, to be sent out somewhere, to upload. Oh, my IFC export failed, so I need to upload. Like all of this is something that can be solved with computers. And this is not adding value. I think that the real value is added in other places, in design. How does it feel? Flow. How do spaces work with one another? Or in structural engineering as well. Like different values can be added. But drawing production or like document just like punching numbers or moving from one Excel sheet to another sheet because it's the deadline that somebody said and the building is not going to be built for the next 2 years, but it's a Friday because we promised that. I think that this is what my version of success in the short to mid-term looks like, that every professional can finish their job on time and do more of their stuff in their work that they actually are made for, and not lose time or lose interest in architecture or engineering or construction on stuff that's just like rots your brain, so to speak. I'm sorry for the harsh words, but that's
So it's
Again,
kind of like the burnout, right? A lot of people see
yes.
architecture with burnout. And I was working in this firm in New York City, and we were like working for 2 days in a row. We had a big deadline. And then I realized I'm not a doctor. If I don't finish this freaking red lines, no one's going to die, right?
Yes.
Right?
And I can tell you that this is how most of the industry thinks, but everybody's afraid to speak up. I understand, because you're hired, that's your job. I understand it, but I think that we are made for something else. I think that humans are at best when we work together, and not at punching numbers in an Excel sheet that could be automated or whatever it is, like adding tags on another drawing that somebody's going to look at some point. Like, it's like we can do smarter, we can do better, and there are ways, because technology allows us for this. We just haven't updated our workflows yet to that, because there is technology that allows you for easy access, no drawings, or easy automatic tags on your drawings. There is technology for this, but we're just kind of stuck in the past in many ways.
That's great. So as we're wrapping up, I can't believe it's almost an hour, Stjepan. I feel like I can talk to you for another hour, but I respect your time. We're going to end with 7 rapid fire questions, okay? But
Sure.
but I still have a few more. Is there anything you want to promote, like your upcoming courses? Are there anything that you have in
when
the
is
near
the episode
future?
going to go live?
Next month. I only do 1 episode a month, so next month, September, mid-September.
Okay, mid-September, So, okay, then my workshops, because I have workshops in early September, but it's for people listening to this after that. Again, just sign up for my newsletter and on AINAC.com, and you will be updated on any course launch. We have a course launch in November, or actually in October 1st, for Discovering AINAC, where I'll be raising the price because I'm adding so much stuff to it. So if people want to secure the lower price, they should sign up before October, or like by mid-October. We'll see when exactly. Then in November, we have Mastering ANAC, so our flagship course, but that teaches you also how to implement and how to make a strategy on AI and so on. That's launching in November. And of course, October 1st is the beta for NeoStack. So people can just reach out and ask how far we are, because we're only accepting a few firms that we want to work with in the beginning, but then we'll see how we're going to open it for public later on. So those are the things. But again, I'm very easy to reach out to, only a message away. LinkedIn, my name and last name are difficult to pronounce and spell, but I think that when you speak to me, I think it should be easy.
So upcoming conferences for people who want to see you live?
Yeah, that's a great point. I have so far I have only a few in the US, but that's like April next year. It's currently booked here in LA actually. But until then, I have November. I have Oslo mid-November. Then I have Paris in like 17th of November. And then I have Zurich in Switzerland a few days after that. So that's like European tour in mid-November. I also have Abu Dhabi in February. Yeah, I can't even believe it. But it's everywhere around the world.
Can you send it to me so I can put it in our show notes?
Sure. Yes, I'll send you all of those links. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you have one in February.
Yes.
Is it November in Paris? I've seen you promote that. I have long-term memory, Stjepan. Like, I remember things that I see 2 months ago, but I don't remember what I ate yesterday for lunch. So
I think you're amazing. First of all, you said one thing in the beginning of this call that I wanted to reflect on. You said that you landed this, let's say, you invited me on the podcast in 20 seconds. I think that anybody's pitch that's 20 seconds or slower and you get a yes is wow. You are amazing at sales, so to speak. So
I was so worried. I was like, I need to see that guy. By the way, Stjepan is like 7 feet tall and I'm 5 feet. So he's 2 feet like taller than me.
Yeah.
All right. So where can people find you? In LinkedIn, or is it in LinkedIn primarily where people can reach you, or the website?
Yeah. So if you have a question or two, LinkedIn is the best way. Stjepan Mikulic, I go by Stefan, as said, or Stjepan@ainac.com for any business related inquiry or something. I might take 2 or 3 days to respond because I get a lot of messages, thank God, but I will respond. I respond to every single one. Yeah. So.
That's amazing. Okay, now before we wrap up, I want to do a quick rapid fire round, short answers. First thing that comes to mind, no overthinking. This will give listeners practical takeaways, okay? What's your current favorite AI tool for architects?
Perplexity.
Okay. If an architect could only try one AI tool this month, what would you recommend?
I mean, ChatGPT comes to mind, but I can also tell you D5 Render. Try that one.
Yeah, I saw them in Innovate. I want to interview them too, but if we
They're
can
really good.
connect us, that would be amazing. So, what
I
AI
can, yeah.
tool do you personally use every single day?
ChatGPT. And
Which
actually, or beside that one, let's say, I'll tell you, I recently discovered Fixer, Fyxer, Fixer.ai. It's like an email management. It can help you with drafts. It really speeds up your email answering and so on.
is
I
it like
hated email
Clarity
management.
Inbox? No, is it like
Like
Clarity? No.
Clarity Inbox, but it works for Outlook as well. So Clarity Inbox still
Oh,
doesn't,
yeah, that was
but
your
it works.
question. You asked
That
them.
was my question.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I remember.
And this one works for Outlook, and it's really, really good because it doesn't do too much, but it does just enough what you need, like drafts and maybe adding tags to emails so you can easily follow up. So,
Perfect. What's one underrated AI tool you think more architects should know about?
that's a good question. Underrated AI tool. I think like My Architect AI, we had them on a show, on my show, or this kind of rendering style AIs that are underrated. I think. Oh, a big one that's underrated: Speckle.
Speckle.
Speckle. Speckle. Oh, hugely underrated. These guys are going to change the industry, and nobody's speaking about it. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, if you could build a dream AI tool for AEC that does not exist, what would it be?
I think that the one we're building, NeoStack. So it's a tool that it's not like we're not greedy. We don't want to do so much that we're going to change the whole. We want to change the industry one firm at a time, so to speak. But we're not going to overpromise. We want you to be able to control what you're using, how much you're spending on it, what you're implementing, what's the status of that, how are you adopting it, are there courses for these tools, can people create their own guides, share knowledge within your firm and outside if you want, and so on. So we're building it right now as we speak. So NeoStack.ai.
Thank you so much, Stjepan. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. And what really stands out is that how you've built your journey, not just as an entrepreneurship and technology, but on your values, taking care of yourself, your family, your team, and the industry that you serve, and from giving opportunities to the people, your employees, and building a vision where every AEC professional knows how to use AI. And I know our listeners will walk away with not just a practical insights, but also inspiration to lead with courage and clarity and heart, because people buy from people. So that's why I wanted to highlight you as a human being, because there are a lot of AI experts out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to interview more of the personal side as well.
Yeah, I noticed. Thank you so much for that. Typically, people don't ask me this, especially here in the States. Everybody's very business oriented, which I understand. This is, again, one of the main reasons I moved here. But this was by far my favorite podcast. But also thank you for doing so much research in the background. People who probably don't even know how much work goes into preparing for an episode and doing an episode and editing a video afterwards and so on. So thank you so much for being that person and doing all of that research and remembering stuff and reaching out. I really appreciate that. So
thank you so much, Stjepan. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Likewise. Thank you, and God bless everybody.
Yes. Thanks for joining us in another episode of AI for Architects. I hope today's episode sparked your curiosity about AI's impact and opportunities in architecture. Subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss our upcoming episodes, and sign up for our newsletter for exclusive content and AI tool reviews at aiforarchitects.ai/subscribe. This podcast is brought to you by MGS Global Group, driving growth for architects everywhere.